Peace, family. Street Media TV on the street here in downtown Philadelphia. I want to talk about the newly elected mayor of Philadelphia, Cherelle Parker, the first African-American female mayor in the city's 300 years history to be the mayor. Now, there's a couple things I want to talk about as a so-called African-American, because a lot of times, we vote and we want black people to be in positions of leadership within our communities. But you also have to check the policies of these black people that we are electing to be in leadership. Because for a long time, a lot of these Democratic-run cities have been supported by black communities, especially black cities like Philadelphia, one of the blackest cities in America with a rich history. We have to look at their policies and what it is that they're supporting. Now, the one thing that Cherelle Parker is an advocate for is tough on policing. The stop and frisk. And this is the question that I would have to ask. This is the question I would have to ask Ms. Parker with the stop and frisk and the tough on policing. Whoever said that white folks in this country or white folks in this city were psychologically conditioned or psychologically qualified to judge black folks to be able to know who to pull over and who not to pull over? Because we know in years past that stop and frisk has been a problem, because a lot of people have preconceived notions about black people the way that we're displayed in media. And another aspect is sanctuary cities. So the supporting of immigrants coming in from other places into cities like Philadelphia, where you already have a homeless problem. You already have open air drug problems, and we don't have proper housing for people. Single motherhood. We have a whole bunch of things where you're bringing in immigrants that can come in. They get rights when they're not even citizens. Housing, money, everything. The Democratic Party is in support of this, and our mayor, newly elected mayor, and a lot of people are in support of these immigrants coming into a city that's already poverty stricken. That's number two. Number three is schooling, and this administration is talking about using tax money from homeowners to allocate it back into school funding. But there's a problem that I have with that, because these schools that you're talking about are schools for mainly black kids, some black and brown, but mainly African American children, right? But the home ownership in the black community is little to none. We don't own those homes. There are other groups that own those homes, where you're talking about using their tax money to allocate it towards our schools. How is that going to work? They don't want that. That's not going to work. We have to talk more ownership and reallocating funds back to our own communities for our own people. Home ownership. The taxes of home ownership is supposed to take care of the communities that you live in. The reason why our communities is in such disarray, because there's not a lot of home ownerships within the communities that you live in. It's supposed to take care of your schools, your potholes in the ground, all those things part of your politics within the municipalities that you live in. All that's supposed to be taken care of by that. But because we don't have the proper home ownership, there you go. So how are you going to use that tax money to allocate it back to schools, where most of those people that own those homes in those communities, because black people are now guests in their own communities, being gentrified out, how are you going to justify using that money for those schools where those people that own those homes, children don't even go to those schools? And this is a problem happening in all these black cities across America, not just Philadelphia. Not just Philadelphia. So let's get back to this tough on crime. The tough on crime, where I told you guys back in 2020 during the government shutdown, where you had all of these white nonprofits running through the streets talking about crime and protesting. Well, they were doing that because they knew that there was a big bank, there was big money about to be allocated to all these nonprofits. And when they got that money off the plight of black people, they disappeared. You didn't see them no more. So now you come back to the city and you got all these grassroots organizations like mine and hundreds of others. When they come to give you grants, they want to give you reimbursement grants, knowing that most of these grassroots nonprofits don't have the money to spend right away and then wait to be reimbursed. That's all tricks. That's all tricks. So now you come in and you say you want to be tough on crime. Well, you want to be tough on crime to disenfranchise people where the proper money is not being allocated to redevelop those people. So now what you want to do is basically warehouse black boys. That's what you want to do. Y'all come in and y'all serve the system that basically serves the multi-trillion-dollar prison industry. It's not about redeveloping of young black boys and girls in these disenfranchised communities. That's not what you're doing. We know what's happening. You have to have resources allocated back to those communities for business and home ownership. If you don't have home ownership, business where people can create equity and create wealth, you're never going to fix the wealth gap. You're always going to have criminality like that in a system of capitalism. Somebody's going to be the ones getting consumed. That's the way capitalism works. But see, most of our people in the communities that we come from are just conditioned to vote. They don't study policies. They don't look at what's going on and what's really affecting that community. Just because they're black, you just vote for them. Now, I hope that when Cherelle Parker gets into office, that she can recognize the things that's what's going on. Because if you look at her, when she was running her ad campaigns, she was leading as a saying, "Well, I'm a single mom," and we know that single motherhood in the black community is a problem. These are things that we should be speaking against. We should be speaking about the redevelopment of our people and the redevelopment of our minds. So you can't come in with stop and frisk. You have to come in with resources being allocated to help and develop our people. And until we get businesses in control of our own schools and in control of our own mind, we ain't gonna never be able to have anything. This is Philadelphia. It's over probably about 1.8 to 2 million people here in the city. They say on the census 1.6 is more people than that, right? Everybody don't get counted, right? And out of that 1.8 to 2 million people, it might be easy 900,000 black people here. Easy 900,000 black people, right? And in that, let's just say last year they had 500 homicides, right? Out of those 500 homicides, 360 of them was black. 360 of them was black. So if you go 900,000, right? 10% of that is 900. 1% of that is 90, right? So you might have, out of our population, you might have 3 to 4% is the ones running around doing all the crime and committing all the stuff. Anywhere between 3 to 4%, right? The rest of our people are working people, decent people, not doing anything. We need to focus more on developing our people and developing our communities and creating opportunities for our people instead of just focusing on the negativity, because that's what we keep manifesting, because that's what they're allocating money to. They're not allocating money to create businesses in the black community, to restore these homes, to show black people, to actually show black people how to get into home ownership here in the city of Philadelphia. Philadelphia is one of the models that can be created for black cities across America of redeveloping yourself and redeveloping your people, man. So I'm asking Cherelle Parker, the first African-American female mayor of Philadelphia, you know, what type of policies are you coming? Are you're being tough on crime? Is tough on crime really words matched with being tough on the community to warehouse and jail black boys instead of redeveloping it? Because that's our job. That's our job, to redevelop our own people. They're not going to allow you to use other tax people's money to allocate it to schools that their children don't go to. So this George Macon, Street Media TV, out here in the streets. Leave your comments in the comment section, because in Chicago, you guys can relate to those sanctuary cities. In Atlanta, black cities, Memphis, Philadelphia, your Democratic Party is in support of these immigrants coming here, and they're getting housing and money and all the things and being able to develop themselves. And when they come here, lastly, they will vote for everything that you vote for, because their lifestyle is predicated on your dysfunction. Because whites don't want them in their communities, they put them in yours. Peace.